Says it, we
Yep.
are live.
Very
Yeah.
loud. Okay. All right, we are streaming live on our newly created channel. Thank you, Taylor and Frank. And yeah, so as soon as in 4 minutes, you can gavel away.
A wooden spoon.
Yeah, with a wooden spoon.
Or plastic cup, anything.
All right, I'll just wait till we're official and then I'll jump in.
That sounds good.
Thanks again to everybody for getting on early. I know I felt much better when I heard we were starting early to avoid any last minute problems. So thanks again.
No worries.
Welcome.
Oh, Kevin Haas, hold on, I gotta admit him. Kevin, admit, and there's one other person, I don't know who this is. Let's, let me admit this other person. Could that be Gary Renz, you think?
I doubt it. I don't know. He didn't
Do you
say
have a
anything.
phone number for him, Joe? Do you know his phone number? Because I could text it to you.
Let me see. I
Fine.
think I have it. Hold on.
I have his phone number if you need it.
I'm just trying to see if this is him.
Yeah. I'm just
His
Fine.
cell is 203-241-6642.
No, that's not it. Okay.
Let's see. And the
Well-
house is 744-7405.
Yeah, no. Okay.
Okay, so it's not
We'll
him.
unmute this person.
Hey, Kevin.
There's Kevin.
Hey.
Hold on. Kevin, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. All right. Well, let me just unmute this person and just be sure it's not Gary, because I wouldn't want to leave him out. Hi, 203-770-9435. Are you Gary Renz? Hello?
Paul Estacco.
Oh, Joe Listacco.
Oh, that's Joe. No, look, Joe
Yeah.
Stocco's on this
Western
line. Yeah, that's weird. Okay, well, we'll unmute them at public hearing time. Okay. Oh, hold on a second. Is anybody else? Nope, I got 16 people in. I just don't know who this is.
While you're trying to get this thing to work, the first 25 minutes weren't like zoomed by. Now that everything's working, you're waiting for the last 2 minutes. Seemed like an awful long 2 minutes.
729.
7:29, though, we're good. Oh, maybe that was the other Listacco. He called back in because there were 2 on and now I only have
Yeah,
1
now there's
on.
only one, yeah.
There's more than one guy in town named Joe Listacco. There's about 4 of them.
That's true.
This is very true.
Okay, looks like it's 7:30. Everybody ready to go?
Yeah.
We're good.
Okay, first of all, welcome everybody to the April 15th, 2020 meeting of the Danbury Planning Commission. This is our first ever virtual Planning Commission meeting. And I want to make sure I get this in. I want to thank everybody responsible for putting the meeting together, specifically Sharon Calitro, Jennifer Eminger, Joanne Reed, Taylor O'Brien, and anyone else I might be forgetting. Tremendous effort putting this together. Thank you all. I apologize. My apologies to anyone I might be forgetting. And I quickly remind everybody, we are land use people. We're not technology people. So please, everybody be patient and understand there may be some bumps in the road or some technology issues that might arise. So I just wanted to forewarn everybody prior to getting the meeting started. As you know, we're using Zoom as the platform for this meeting, the cloud platform. However, if you do not have access to a computer or for whatever reason can't access Zoom, you are also able to participate via phone. So there's two ways to participate in this meeting. Again, online streaming via Zoom or by telephone. A few other quick announcements and we'll get started with the content of the meeting. The City of Danbury website is a very important component of this. If you go to the city's website, you can watch live stream on the Danbury, Connecticut, the Danbury Planning and Zoning YouTube channel. So we have a YouTube channel which will stream this meeting live, and instructions on how to do that, the link to do that, again, appears on the City of Danbury website. The video recording of this meeting is also going to be posted on the City of Danbury's website. And it should identify all participants either by name or by phone number. And I did want to caution anyone participating via phone, we may not be able to see your name, so you might have to be addressed or referred to by your phone number out of necessity. So please understand that. Just a couple of other random things. The Planning Commission meeting, we will proceed following our agenda like we always do, as is our standard practice. Commission members, if you wish to comment during the course of the meeting or during the course of the presentations, please use the raised hand function on Zoom. And I think we went through that the other day, and Sharon will acknowledge you, and we'll do it that way. Hopefully that will maintain some order that way.
That hasn't popped up on my screen yet.
What's that, Joe?
The raise hand function hasn't popped up on my screen yet.
I think you have to.
You have to do it yourself.
Yeah, you
Hit
have to-
participants. Sorry.
Are you on an iPad, Joel, or a PC, like a desktop?
My PC. Okay.
Participants on the bottom.
Participants, right, and then it'll say,
Okay,
There'll be-
gotcha. Done.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay. A meeting wouldn't be a meeting without Joel participating, so we got to be very careful there.
Be nice now, be nice.
If anyone submitted questions or comments via email to Sharon, they will be read during the appropriate portion of the meeting. Also, during the, as we always do, during a public hearing, we ask people if they want to speak in favor or opposition. And during the public hearing portion of the meeting, the way we're going to do it is this. The commission members will ask their questions first. Again, using the raised hand function. What I'd like to do next, if there are members of the public that would like to speak, we'll first speak to the people that are participating via Zoom. And second, we'll ask the people to speak who are participating via telephone. So again, as the chronology of questions will be commission members first, Zoom participants second, phone call people third. And again, we'll try to make that as orderly as we possibly can. We do ask if you're participating via phone to keep your phone on mute until you are recognized to speak. And again, please state your name, your title, and your address before you speak so we know who you are. All votes will be via roll call. Obviously, voice votes would be a little tricky using this particular technology. So each time we vote, including everything, even acceptance of the minutes, we will be using a roll call. And if I forget, please remind me, commission members. And finally, just again, as I said earlier, this is new to us all. This is the first time we've ever done this. I ask everybody to be patient, I ask everybody to be respectful of others, and only speak out when you're called upon during the public presentation portion of the meeting. So with that said, we are going to move right into our agenda. And we will open, as we always do, with the roll call. Mr. Urice,
Here,
Ms. Hofstetter,
Here,
Mr. Kiokio,
Here,
Mr. Sylvain,
here.
Mr. Renz, Mr. Haas,
Here.
and Chairman Finaldi is here. For the purpose of this meeting, we do not need to seat an alternate because all members are present and accounted for. Thank you. For the record, our next meeting Actually, our next meeting will be May 6th, 2020. Obviously, at this point, we don't know if we'll be doing it via Zoom or in person. That information will be forthcoming. We'll move on to acceptance of the minutes, which were previously distributed. They were dated March 4th, 2020. Unless there are any comments or corrections, I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded to accept the minutes of the March 4th meeting. Again, I will take a roll call vote. Mr. Urice,
Aye.
Ms. Hofstadter,
Yes.
Mr. Kiokio,
Yes.
Mr. Sylvain,
Yes.
and Chairman Finaldi votes yes. The minutes are accepted. We're going to move right to our first public hearing this evening. Hopefully I have just give me 1 second, folks. I'm going to read the legal notice, but let me first announce what it is. Juliana Lunetta trustee, application for 2-lot re-subdivision, 1.288 acres, 41 Golden Hill Road, H11130, subdivision number 20-01. The legal notice is as follows. Notice is hereby given that the Planning Commission of the City of Danbury will hold public hearings commencing at 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday, March 18th, 2020 in the City Council chambers on the 3rd floor at City Hall, 155 Deer Hill Avenue, to consider the following matters. Juliana Lunetta trustee, application for 2-lot re-subdivision, 1.288 acres, 41 Golden Hill Road, H11130, subdivision number 20-01. Copies of these applications are on file in the Planning and Zoning Office for public inspection. Parties in interest and citizens shall have an opportunity to be heard at this time. Arnold D. Finaldi, Jr., Chairman, published March 6th and March 13th, 2020, purchase order 2020-378. Commission members, various documents pertaining to this application were previously submitted to you all. Copies of those, again, are online on the city's website. Click on the blue link and you can see any of them. Hopefully, we'll have some of them appearing on the screen before you as the presentation moves forward. With that said, is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
Ralph Gallagher. I'm a licensed professional engineer with offices at 39 Mill Plain Road, Danbury. And I'm representing the applicant, Lunetta trustee, for, as you mentioned, the 2-lot re-subdivision of parcel A and B, Golden Hill Road, number 41, of which this subdivision is a re-subdivision is a subdivision of parcel B. Parcel A and B were split back in 1976. Filed in Sydney ARAP TC number 5929. That's probably not something you have to see, but the current A2 re-subdivision plan is online on the screen, as you can see. The property exists, just for the record, north is straight up on your map. This on the right-hand or east side of Golden Hill Road, approximately across from Golden Hill Avenue. It consists of, as I said, 1.288 acres. It's an RA20 zone, which means you need at least 20,000 square feet in the proper zoning configuration for each lot. And the lot sizes are 34,000 and change and 21,000, almost 22,000 and change. There is an existing house on the property on the northernmost lot, and the southernmost lot is proposed to be built on. And our plans, our site utility plans, show a feasible way to develop that property that consists of a modest home, fairly close to the road, like the existing dwelling, and with the excess property toward the back, which drops way down. And if you put the house further back than that, you perhaps would have to pump to the sewer. City water and gas are available in Golden Hill Road. The city has requested in their review that we upgrade the sidewalk and show some more details regarding the connection to the sewer and water, both for the existing and the proposed house. We have a review, we have a staff review, which I'm sure you have, which is minor, basically says that we're allowed to have this public hearing without improving anything currently on the city property. However, the city engineers want the sidewalk redone. And it also questions the applicant should change the driveway. Our original proposal, our original plan was to show the driveway on the north side of the proposed lot. And that was right in the way of the Hart bus stop. So we flopped it around and we have the driveway coming in on the south side, which makes it much better. We have stormwater management galleries, which gets the runoff from the driveway and the leader drains. We disperse it in the ground to the rear of the dwelling. And we have we've shown rating and utilities as required. The city engineer's review letter basically has minor detailed engineering utility comments regarding sewer and water and stormwater gallery, which I'm going to resolve with them. It's too technical for the commission, I believe, unless you'd like me to go through anything. If anyone has any questions on the Mr. Kelly Green's letter, I can do that. Standard stuff and questions regarding sewer, water, and the storm drain, minor credit questions. Everything seems to be in order. Everything seems to be fairly straightforward. I think that other than if any questions, I can have any questions from the commission. I believe that's all the presentation that's necessary for this small re-subdivision.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Any questions from the commission at this time?
Mr. Chairman.
Please, Joel.
There was a comment, I believe, in maybe it was in Kelly Green's, but in one of the staff reports, asking what the use of the well on parcel A was. What it's not used for any drinking water at all now. Is that correct?
It's an old well that was just never abandoned when they connected to city water many, many, many years ago, because that was not something that the town or the health department watched at that time. I think it's a good idea to recommend that that well be abandoned. And although it's not legally required, it's probably prudent to
I'm sorry.
I just want to make sure it's not a part of the parcel A drinking water.
no. Is on.
Thank you.
Mr. Gallagher, just a quick question. Could you comment on the extent to which the lot has to be cleared? I haven't driven by it and sometimes did not have an opportunity to do so. Is it heavily wooded and is there a lot of clearing involved?
Lightly wooded. There are some large trees, but other than that, it's other than way down in the back to the east, the area to be constructed is very lightly wooded. Almost like the lawn, the side lawn for the house, existing house.
Thank you.
Okay,
Any
I'm
other
just
questions?
scrolling. I'm just scrolling through to see if I see any raised hands, which I do not.
Okay. Hearing no more questions at this time for Mr. Gallagher, I will ask, is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Anyone else in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application?
Hold on, Arnie, I need to just unmute this the other people, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, no problem.
Okay, we're just unmuting everybody. In case you want to speak on the first application, in favor of the first application.
Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application at this time? Anyone in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Hearing none, is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application at this time? Anyone in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application at this time? Hearing no opposition and hearing no further questions for Mr. Gallagher, let me just address a question to Jennifer, if I may. Jen, I believe we are waiting for final comments from engineering and maybe something else too?
Mr. Chairman, you are currently, all comments have been received. We're waiting for Ralph to make those revisions and get them back to us, and they'll be redistributed to staff. So my recommendation is that you keep the hearing open.
Okay, Jennifer, thank you very much. Commission members, unless there's anything else at this time, I will entertain a motion to continue this public hearing until our next regularly scheduled meeting.
So
Who will
moved.
make that motion?
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded. Joanne,
Second.
did you get made the motion?
Mhm.
Okay. Motion has been made and seconded to continue this matter until our next meeting. Any other comments? Hearing none, I will take a voice vote. Again, yes is to continue to our next meeting. No is to not continue to our next meeting. Mr. Urice,
Yes.
Ms. Hofstadter,
Yes.
Mr. Kiokio,
Yes.
Mr. Selvane,
Yes.
and Chairman Finaldi votes yes. This matter will be continued until our next regularly scheduled meeting. Thank you, Mr. Gallagher.
Much, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we are going to move forward to item 2 under public hearings on our agenda. Item 2 is AL Real Estate Holdings LLC, application for special exception site plan approval for warehouse and distribution facility Los Taco Auto Parts in the IL 40 zone, 94 Triangle Street, J14276, special exception 775. Again, for the sake of simplicity, I will read the legal notice. Legal notice is hereby given that the Planning Commission of the City of Danbury will hold public hearings commencing at 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday, March 18th. Guess this is a little outdated. The actual date, the date of the public hearing is today, which is April 15th. At the City Council Chambers on the 3rd floor at City Hall, 155 Deer Hill Avenue, to consider the following matters. AL Real Estate Holdings LLC, application for special exception site plan approval for warehouse and distribution facility, Los Taco Auto Parts in the IL 40 zone, 94 Triangle Street, J14276, special exception number 775. Copies of these applications are on file in the Planning and Zoning Office for public inspection. Parties in interest and citizens shall have an opportunity to be heard at this time. Arnold D. Finaldi Jr., Chairman, published March 6th and March 13th, 2020, purchase order number 2020-378. Commission members, again, various documents pertaining to this application were previously distributed. I have a staff report here dated March 12th, other things, all of which are on the website and available for your review if you have not done so yet. With that said, is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application?
Yes.
Mr. Dodo.
Yes, hello. Benjamin Dodo. I'm the licensed professional engineer representing the applicant today. They are with me here at the meeting as well, Joe and Paul Estaco. They are the contract purchasers for this property, 94 Triangle Street. This property is currently, let's see, I want to,
You're good. You can share your screen.
I can share my screen, Sharon? Okay.
Yes.
Let me do that first. Bear with me. Okay. Here's a view of the existing site right now. It's a 15,000 square foot warehouse. I think I mentioned that Paul and Joe Lestaco are also here in the audience tonight. They do not plan on speaking, but if any of the commissioners have questions, they'd be happy to answer any questions for you as well. The site right here, if I move my cursor around, can you see that?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. The site, it's an existing 15,000 square foot warehouse. Right here is Triangle Street. It's basically to the south of the Triangle Street transformer station, that beautiful facility to the left on this photo. And to the right is another industrial building right prior to the Still River. Listaco is currently located right now right across down Triangle Street at the corner of Triangle and Lemac. They're currently at 78. They propose where they rent. They want to move their facility here and make some improvements to it. As you can see, the site is an old warehouse building. The entire front of the site is not a storefront. It's basically loading docks and a driveway ramp to the warehouse. This is a photograph of their Waterbury store. It's sort of along the theme of what they plan on doing here, obviously making some improvements to the site. I'm going to go to the land use drawings and sort of scroll to the architectural renderings just to get a sense of what is proposed here. And I'm just going to focus on the front of the building for now. This view here, I'm having trouble. I can't pan it. Maybe I can. This is the existing front of the site. As you can see, there's on the right side of the building, there's loading docks as they are on the left side of the building, and a couple of old docks that have been converted to ramps. The proposal is right here. This was prepared by 72 Architects, is to take the front of the building and maintain the loading component on the right side. There'll be a full 4-foot dock. There'll be a shorter dock for pickup trucks and vehicles like that. And there'll be an at grade, not necessarily a dock, but where employees can actually walk into the parking lot to get to their vehicles. The proposed use, and the reason we're here, is, as I had mentioned, it's an existing warehouse. But last year when we met with city staff, Listaco is technically a warehouse and distribution. What they do, and many of you are familiar with their business, auto parts come in, and the bulk of their dealings, they get put into smaller vehicles, trucks, cars, et cetera, and they get delivered to the local auto shops and places of the sort. There is a small component of customers that will come in and buy something off the rack, but it's primarily a warehouse and distribution, which is a special exception use. So if this were just a warehouse to warehouse, we wouldn't be here. But because of that added use, of distribution is why we're here tonight for the public hearing. So that being said, we're trying to turn this all warehouse into a building that's going to have a warehouse with some loading, and then also create an entrance at grade that's handicap accessible. We're going to be expanding some covered entrances here, and basically making the building a lot nicer than it is right now. In order to do that, as you can see on the existing survey, it's just a sea of asphalt out front where trucks pull in, back in, load, and then leave. There's a small component of parking out front here. That if you look in the photo, cars park here, basically sort of half in the right of way, and then some cars park here on the side as well. So the truck patterns come in, they back in, and then they leave. In order to do that for this site, that was not possible to maintain that and keep the parking that we need. So what we did is we came up with a site plan, which is in front of you today, to take the existing building. That's something we do not have control over where it is. It's sort of set back. The ability to load from the backside is not possible because of how close the building is to the railroad tracks. Additionally, the right side of the site, we share a driveway. Well, actually, our neighbor shares our driveway to the road here. 89 Triangle Street is right here. They do not have a driveway because of the Still River Bridge at Triangle Street. Their site sits below it. So they do have an easement agreement with this property that they have to be able to come in, access their site here, access their site here, and we have to maintain an aisle here that there's some parking that the neighbor has in this area along their building, as well as right here. So we need the ability for the cars to get in and get out there, as well as in and out this way and this way. So what we did is when we designed the site layout, we designed the parking to favor the north or left side of the site and try to keep this right side of the site open for both our traffic, our neighbors' traffic, and delivery vehicles. In order to do that, we had to go to ZBA and secure several variances. The variances were basically to do what we're doing here. It involved front yard setback reductions for parking. As you can see, here's the front yard setback line. The variances, in our opinion, were pretty straightforward because right now there was no landscape strip in the front. There's literally, if you look at the survey and the photo I showed you in the beginning, there is a tiny, if you can even call it, strip of grass right here. Got a real wide driveway on this side, another driveway here. There is literally no planting or landscaping anywhere. So although we received variances, we still maintained enough, and this is our landscape plan prepared by Ellen Hines, to put some plantings in the front, put a new sidewalk in, currently no sidewalk there, and connect the sidewalk in front of the substation to the sidewalk that ends up going over the Triangle Street Bridge. And also improving the driveway aprons and getting some plantings, having the ability to put a sign in. So that the variances we received, although they were to meet the letter of the law, we feel that in every case here, we're making improvements to the site because we're giving ourselves some ability to put some plantings in, while at the same time being able to develop the site. And as I had mentioned, we're again trying to keep the right side of the site here open as best we can for loading and ingress and egress. So what we did was laid out the parking, typical storefront parking along the building, similar parking along the substation site. But then we put some parking in the middle, and we had to do this because we have a requirement of it's about 38 or 39 spaces, and we're just right there with parking, with what we've been able to do. We did receive some staff comments. Oh, I want to back up one little bit. One other variance we received had to do with not putting landscape islands here and here. We would have lost 4 parking spaces, not been able to go forward with what we're doing here, and at the same time hampered our ability to load here with the truck turning plan. And I'll go over those truck turning plans a little later in this presentation. So one of the other variances we did receive was a building coverage variance. And I just want to be clear, the coverage in this zone is 30%. The current building is at about 32%, just the way it is today. And really all we're doing, and the reason we had to get a variance is once you have a structure that's a cover. So for example, we are expanding this covered dock just by a little bit here. It's currently a covered dock here. That counts against our building coverage. Likewise, at this storefront here, there's sort of a loading dock here that we're going to raise the grade and cover that as well to match what's next to it. Additionally, and we're proposing this as a phase 2, we're covering this dock as well. So that is why we needed the variances to get to 33.5% building coverage. We're not adding any building, any square footage. We're staying at that square footage. It was really just to make the building more functional, both for the walk-in entrance and also when have your loading activities. With the amount of rain and snow we get in this part of the country, it is nice to have your loading docks covered. So again, I'll go over some of the staff comments we received. We've received them over time. I was sort of waiting for Abdul's comments before I submitted a formal response. And obviously we've had this 1 month delay in things, but we received Abdul's comments today. I'll address his last. I already started to make some changes to the plans in anticipation of what I thought Abdul might say, and also based on some comments from staff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over a plan right here that shows some of the changes that are in progress here. I'm going to start with fire department and the building department. They were fine with the plans. The building is currently sprinklered. It will remain so. So as far as fire department access and sprinklers, there's really, no issues with respect to that. As I said, we're not adding on to the building, making it any bigger. So that situation isn't changing. The building's also served by city sewer. That's going to remain in our project report. The sewage usage is very minimal here, but we did put that. This site is near the Still River, as I had mentioned earlier. We are not in the floodplain. We're close to it, but elevationally we sit a foot or two, about a foot above it. So the need for a floodplain permit was not required. The floodplain does exist off the site in this area as you get closer to the Still River, but elevationally we are all above that. The engineering department, they haven't issued a letter. Jen, correct me if I'm wrong, but I did get an email from Kelly basically saying she thought everything looked okay. Her only concern was, and it really wasn't a concern, it had to do with where the oh boy, how do I get the drawing I want to grab is under this bar here.
Is under the bar.
Trying to grab a tab. Boy.
I have no idea. Yeah, try that.
Well,
Try that plus.
plus.
Yeah, that. Anything?
Whoa.
Oh, that's
Oh.
nice.
Right.
That is nice. Okay.
You might have to stop share and then change your view.
That doesn't look like Triangle Street, Ben.
Oh, well, this is the after. We need.
That's a Still River.
Yes.
Different window plan, maybe just minimum.
think it's in the
Paul and
floodplain.
Joe about that, yeah.
Yeah, if it's on a different screen, you're gonna want to stop sharing and then reshare with the screen you want to show.
It's not, it's just,
Is
it's
that
on
what-
my tab. I'll go grab it. Hold on one second. I'm sorry about this. Because that's not the plan I want to show. Land use drawings. Okay, I'm just gonna stop sharing.
Yeah, if they could make that site look like that Mountain View, I would, move to close and approve this.
Okay, sorry about this. CO2R1. So Kelly's comment was the existing sewer line. We are on city sewer, as I mentioned. That was confirmed. We don't know its exact location. We asked the current owner where it was, and we think it's right here. We're just not sure exactly where it goes from there. So what Kelly asked us to do is add a note to the plans requiring that before we go and put the sign in and the storm drain, that we do test pits in those locations just to confirm that we're not going to have a conflict with the sewer. And that's something that we're doing here. We have no issues with doing that. You can see on this plan here, I've also already sort of added here that it's this note right here, but that'll be on the next submittal that we'll agree to do that. And it's a good idea, unless we find it in the meantime. But that's typical with a lot of these older sites that we don't know exactly where all the utilities are, but it is served by city sewer. And we will do a test pit if necessary to accommodate that. As far as other comments, construction services, Rob Barone asked that we put some detectable pads out there, so we're doing that. As I had mentioned, the driveway aprons, the current driveway aprons are a little, they're really, it's almost one big curb cut with the exception of this center island here. So we're putting new concrete aprons here, concrete apron here, concrete sidewalk.
Hold it, Ben, if you could just give me one quick second. Is everybody else looking at his drawing or at a drop-down menu of files?
Drop down menu of the files.
Yes, so
Really?
Ben, just,
Open that drawing.
Yeah,
I
you're
think-
referring to drawings, but they're not showing up on our screens. Just the list of the various files is what we're all looking at.
Really?
Not-
Okay.
The
It's
screen
okay,
share is pretty
You're-
sensitive. It's gonna only open the screen you want, so you're gonna have to close it every time. So if you have the drawing open and the
Okay.
screen share and then pop back up. Yeah, it's really tricky. It's only like what you tell it.
Okay, so it's not all my tabs there. I got you.
It's
No,
Still
you're
it's the
still,
same-
it's still your tab.
here.
What about now?
No,
Files.
No,
So try to keep the PDF open on your desktop, but then end the screen share. And then when it pops back up, what do you want to share? See if that PDF is visible somewhere. Because right now
Okay.
it's just in the file folder.
Oh, boy.
So when you press screen share, see if like just that PDF should be one of the options that you could share.
and Ben, while you're doing that, some of us were able to print out the drawings on our print like we normally do on our printers. I know I have paper copies of them right here. I don't know if the other members do, but if worst comes to worst, we'll just go off the paper and then we're going to keep the public hearing open anyway. We can backfill next meeting.
Okay, but no.
I
there-
can
there's
bring
no
up-
reason-
Ben, do you want me to bring up my copy?
Yeah, that'd be nice, Jen. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, it's okay. Give me a second. Okay. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Can you see that, Ben?
Yes, I can see it.
Do you want to be on the site plan or the site utility plan?
No, the site plan's good. It's perfect.
Okay.
So Rob Barone asked us to, he wanted to make sure that our sidewalk grade has a good cross pitch, because right now the southerly driveway has a pitch directly down from the road, where you want to come up off the gutter, up the sidewalk and then back down onto the site. So we will accommodate that. And his other comment was more of, this first comment had to do with, it was more of a construction issue, so I'm not even going to get into that. And then the last comment was, there is a pole number 6931. It's located right in this spot here.
Right here.
No, a little to the right, Jen, right?
This right here?
No, that's our sign, closer to the driveway apron, to the screen right.
Yeah, I think it's right here.
No, it's actually here.
I don't, can you, Anna, can you,
Take
can
the
you pick
remote,
it up?
you could take the remote control, I think. Go to view options and try request remote control. I think that should give you
View options.
up at the top of your screen. Do you have that?
Oh, request remote control. Request.
Oh, hold on. Do I have to? Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
That's nifty.
So do I have it now?
Yes, you do.
Okay, the poll is right here.
Oh, there.
There.
Sorry.
So, and it's a typical CLMP Eversource poll where it gets damaged and then they put a new one next to it. And then they take a long time to switch all the utilities. So Rob wants us to expedite that. So, I mean, we'll do as much as we can during construction, but that's the power company's responsibility. But his main thing is that when the old pole gets taken out, he wants that backfilled because he doesn't want the sidewalk to undermine. So that's something before we start construction, we'll obviously call Eversource and ask them to expedite that process. The worst case scenario is if that doesn't happen, we can always hold off on pouring a couple sections of sidewalk until that pole's properly disconnected and removed and take care of that. So that's not that big of an issue. Jennifer's comments. So I'm going to move on to Jennifer's comments. Jennifer doesn't like the space on this parking space right here, which is fine. We will take that space out. In fact, the drawing I was looking at earlier has this space removed. And I think the reason why Jen felt it conflicted with the loading zones and the dumpsters and all that. Yeah. It was just, there was room to put a spot and we put it there. We can get rid of it. She also requested a truck turning path. I will go over that in a minute. But there was one more comment that Jen had that she asked us right in this area here. You could see my cursor move, everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
And this area here, where we didn't put islands, that we do at least some striping to better delineate that. And we've done that. If I could get to the current site plan, unfortunately, which I seem to be having trouble with, I could show you that we've done that. When
I
I say
saw
the
something with stripes earlier, Ben.
Yeah, the one I submitted today. I may actually try to get back on there right now because this is driving me bananas. Not being able to show my drawing. But the one comment, and Jennifer said one of her comments was about our driveway aisle width isn't wide enough. And I think Jen is referring to right here.
Yep.
We're only showing this area as one way. So we do meet the requirements for one-way travel. Again, what we did with the site, we had to maximize parking, but at the same token, we want this area here to be mainly for loading and unloading and the delivery guys to get in and out. So if we want our customers that may come here, visit the store, and if they leave this way, that's fine, or they can leave this way. But we don't want customers coming in and going this way at the same token. So, it's our opinion that we meet the requirement for one way. Maybe we have to add a sign there. Do not enter on one side or one way or something like that. And then I think we'll satisfy that comment. So that being said, Abdul had a few comments that they came in today. And I'm going to try to share my truck turning plan, Jen.
Okay, so if you
have that?
can't, yeah, I'll stop sharing, but if you can't, I have your email, so I can always bring
Okay.
that up as
Let
well.
me try to share it
Okay.
again.
Ben, I saw that too. I think you had it up at one point.
I had it up earlier. I don't know what my problem is. Start screen share. can everyone see this?
File
Yeah.
list only.
It's the list of files again.
Shoot. So,
Maybe try opening it on your own before you screen share, so it's like, it's
Yeah, let
on your
me-
desktop. like,
okay,
open.
so Taylor, open it on my own.
Yeah, so the PDF should be open somewhere, right, on your screen?
Yeah, it's open on my screen now.
Okay, now try screen share and see if just that PDF comes up somewhere
Okay.
on one of your, because when you press.
In the
screen share,
white box, right,
option.
in the white
Yeah.
box.
You see it now or no?
Yes,
Yes.
we see.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Nice
All
job.
right. So, thank you, Taylor.
Nice job.
Okay,
job.
so here is the traffic plan, the truck turning plan. As you can see, this is the primary loading dock. We have another one on the side here. And then this is a smaller one. I didn't show a truck turning plan for that because that's going to be a pickup truck or a small vehicle. We show that trucks can come in from two directions. They can come in from the south, come in, and then back into either one, as they can come in from the north, come in and back into either one. And then when they leave, that's over here on this side, leaving is a lot easier. They have the ability just to drive out and they can make this turn and they can make the turn heading south. Here's my little hatch islands that I've added per Jennifer's comment there. So Abdul had a few comments. His first comment said the curb cuts are extremely wide. I respectfully disagree with him on that. The first curb cut, this one here, is currently this wide. It's about 70 feet. As you can see, currently about 45 feet from here to here. And I'm adding about 10 feet to it. And I need that 10 feet to make the truck turn into the northbound lane because the northbound lane is closer. So while we're making one huge one quite a bit smaller, and we're making one average one slightly bigger. Because right now, as I mentioned, what trucks do now, they have the ability to come in, turn and back in, come in, turn and back in. And what we're doing is we're going to try to limit the bulk of those activities to the right side. So I think you could see the reason I did what I did with these driveways was to accommodate the delivery trucks. And again, it is a delivery truck warehouse right now. Just the fact that there isn't a parking area in front of here, it allows a lot of the movements to be more of a free for all instead of a better defined plan. So we can accommodate the vehicles that we intend to. Abdul asked for end islands right here. In the beginning of this presentation, I went over why we can't put those end islands there, but we did make an accommodation with the striping, and ZBA did grant us. They saw the hardship here and they did grant us the ability not to put those islands there. And again, we didn't ask for the ability not to put islands anywhere. We're putting an island here, we're putting an island here, we're putting an island here, and also a large planting island in the front as well. Internal traffic circulation needs to be improved. That's sort of a catch-all, but I think the internal traffic circulation is as good as we can get it for this use. Again, the building itself is not a new building. It's a building that's there, and we had to make the site work around it. While at the same time, giving the city a buffer, a sidewalk, and some plantings. We meet all of the city's dimensional requirements for driveway aisles, whether they're one or two way. And also the circulation takes place here, and we have the truck circulation on this side, keeping in mind, we had to favor the left side of the site because of our agreement with the neighbor. we can't just put a row of parking on the right side of the site here because we would completely block the neighbor. The neighbor needs the ability to use that as well. And his last comment is, I'd like to see a truck turning template. That's what this is. I think it supports our site design. And it'll be a vast improvement over what's out there right now. So that being said, I think what you have here is a, you know, a nice adaptive reuse of a site. Again, we did get some variances, but you can see in every case, we are improving the situation, not taking away from it. One other thing that we're doing is this driveway right now, for those of you that have been to the site, is a pretty steep driveway coming off the road. And we're making some grading improvements to that to flatten out the grade of that driveway as well. So that's really my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions anyone may have.
Mr. Chairman, it's Helen.
Yes, Helen, please proceed.
I'm still looking at the diagrams, which is good. You have the trucks, unloading trucks, or the trucks with the merchandise in them, coming in on the south driveway all the time. I don't see where you have indicated that they could actually say they miss the south driveway and that they're heading north. They may come in on the north side. What would prevent them from going, through past the cars and then turning right, and maybe, maybe not being able to be accommodated going that way? What prevents them, the big trucks, from, not starting down that south, the north ingress to get to the building? Because you don't have, you're clearly indicated they come in on the south driveway.
Yeah, and that's the way the site is laid out. We're not going to preclude trucks because these are the larger tractor trailers. We're going to have trucks of all sizes, Helen, pickup trucks, things like that we want to use the northerly entrance and exit if they have to. But the defined striping will sort of guide them. And the other reason we didn't put the islands there, if you did put the islands and a truck did make that maneuver and the parking lot weren't full, the islands would cause a problem. So if the parking lot's not full, the paint sort of allows you to a little leeway with that.
So they would be inclined to do exactly what you drew here based on markings that you're going to provide. Is that right?
Marking? Well, when I say
markings, yeah.
I'm talking.
In other words, when the drivers will tend to observe the striping and the markings that you'll put down so that they won't go on the, into the north driveway and keep going. Is that what you're saying?
No.
No, I guess I'm not explaining myself well.
I'm sorry.
The intent is, no, it's not you, Helen. It's me. A large truck, it can come in here, but it has a little more difficulty making that maneuver.
Oh, no, I'm talking about they come in and they go right back towards the building that way.
Oh, this way?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think a guy would do that once before they don't do it again.
Okay. So, and if you had a big tractor trailer, would they be, they probably have a hard time.
Tractor trailer were here.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
Could he back in and go this way? Yeah, he could, but he would do it. Usually they do those things once.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking, nobody's going to be dumb enough to go take that right at the back where you have the arrow.
Well, yeah, no, I agree, but
I guess I was concerned that somebody might get stuck there. Right?
No, and it's plenty deep to accommodate a truck. So if they did pull in, they wouldn't be hanging out in the road like sometimes you have with really shallow sites. And if they did come in this way, they can still make this turn. It may take them, instead of a 3-point turn, it may be a 4-point turn to get in there.
Yeah.
And again, this is what they do today. Today, the vehicles pull in and back in. They pull in and back in.
Yeah.
And it really just depends on what your habits are. But again, right now, the whole front of the building are loading docks. When this is all said and done, the the loading docks that we're gonna have are gonna be right here with a
Okay.
secondary
Oh,
right here.
okay. Oh, I get it. Yeah, okay, that's
These are
good.
gonna be
Yeah.
just, these are gonna be at grade. We're raising the grade here. So if someone so it's handicap accessible, you're gonna have the ability to get out, walk, and go in the front door if you're in a car or pickup truck. At the same token, one of the reasons we need extra parking for this business is because you see their trucks all over town, the little cars and pickup trucks as they're delivering auto parts to the shops and the mechanics in town. They unload with the bigger trucks, and then they typically load in the smaller vehicles and take them around town.
Yep.
So
Okay.
that's pretty easy with respect to that.
All right, thank you very much for that.
You're welcome, Helen.
Mr. Chairman.
Joel, please.
Ben, just thinking about the existing Estaco operation across the street, the front of this
Yes.
building is pretty much the same configuration, except across the street, I don't think they had the side loading dock. Is that correct?
They're loading, I think they have one on the front right. I think it's similar to this. I mean, I will let Paul and Joe jump in on that. They're a lot tighter where they are today than where they would be here, Joel.
No, I wasn't really going through a lot of looking for comment. I'm pretty sure I know what it looks like. I bought
Yeah.
parts over there enough times.
It's a different shape building, but I think it's on the right side as well.
They have one back on the right? Okay.
I don't know if it's all the way back. I'd have to ask.
If it's there, I just.
It's all the way to the right of the building in the front.
Is it? All right.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's sort of
Yeah,
right
but-
around, I
the
think it's
loading you have. in
right
front
around here
is,
on the existing building.
Is for small vehicles, right?
No, they back up trucks into that. That's one of the reasons it's tight where they are now, because it's a
Okay.
narrower site.
All right, well, let's get back to the plan and before us. I'm really not excited about the wider entrances that Abdul had concern with, but when I look at that, I just don't really understand the need for that wide of an apron. It seems like you have, if I can read the diagrams right, half a truck going one route and the other half truck having the other route coming out. But I mean, that single line hanging down there, is that supposed to be part of the tracking?
Yeah, here, I'll show you. And it's because of the two directions and also the fact that Triangle Street trying to get into the lane. I'll give you an example. I'm on the ingress plan here.
Yep.
A truck heading northbound. This is the edge of the vehicle body right here.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So let's look at the opposite. So a truck coming southbound easily makes that. They're right in here. However, when a truck is leaving the site and has to make that 90-degree turn, you can see with the swing. See that?
Oh, yeah, I see one side of the truck. Where's the other side of the truck on that track?
Right here.
That's a pretty wide truck.
That's why they ask us to prepare these plans. I don't know what to say, but that's when a truck makes a 90-degree turn, they have a huge vehicle body path. And that's ironically, Abdul is always asking me to make driveways bigger, not smaller.
Yeah, I didn't have a big issue with it. I just didn't understand your drawing there.
No, it's what I try to show. Instead of doing 10 drawings for every possible scenario, I try to do some overlap so you could see the ins and the outs. But I'd like to highlight the fact, Joel, that I decreased this driveway by this much.
Like I said, I'm not excited so much about the width, but just the accuracy of the turning plan. I'll give it some look between now and our next.
Okay. I
meeting.
mean, this is, I use auto turn. It's sort of our one and only choice to do these models. We do it on every job that it gets asked of us to do. And they are slightly conservative, but we know if we can make it work on auto turn, a professional truck driver is a lot better than an engineer sitting at a desk with a mouse.
Oh, wait a minute. Light bulb just came on in my head as I was visualizing a turn. Okay.
Yeah, and there's,
Proceed, Macduff.
okay. So this is what they have to be. We made them as narrow as we can, but what we did too is we defined them, because right now, this is all that exists between the two driveways. Right there. It's basically a sea of asphalt with a little median in there. So in my opinion, I think we made it a lot better. And in there's, like I said, there's going to be trees, there's going to be shrubs, there's going to be a sign, sidewalks. So you'll get a sense of barrier. And also remember, we have our neighbor using this driveway too. So this driveway is the main driveway to this, to both this site and the neighbors.
Thank you, Ben. Commission members, are there any additional questions for Ben at this time?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, it's Bob.
Yokio.
Yes. Ben, a couple of questions.
Sure.
So how many employees are there now and will be working there?
There are 12, here, I got these numbers written down here. There's 12 dedicated warehouse employees and 10 vehicles. So that's part of what drove up the parking count, because the way the city's regs are done, you guys do it based on square footage, based on employees. But when you have an employee drive his personal vehicle to work and then swap out with a company vehicle, you almost have to have double vehicles. And that's one of the reasons why we have so much parking.
So you're saying that there's, when all of the employees come in before they get in the delivery vehicles, there'll be 22 vehicles in that parking lot?
In theory, yes, yes,
If they are all, right, okay,
yes.
okay.
No, and then there's a couple, there's an office component that's driven by square footage, so there's a couple more for there. But that's when I began this presentation, the parking count is pretty much right on, Bob.
So
and that's why-
pretty much all of those spots are going to be pretty much taken at the beginning of the day, and then as they deliver, the delivery vehicles will be away, but their personal vehicles will still be there. So there's probably going to be a minimum of 15 or so cars there just from employees all day long, right?
Yes.
Does that make
yes,
sense?
Yes, but even with that, the way we broke out the parking count, as I had said, there's a component that people still have the ability to go in and purchase something here.
Sure.
So
there'll
what
be retail customers coming in and out.
Yeah,
as
but
well.
it's accessory. Again, it's in the IL 40 zone, so it could be no more than 25% of the space. In this case, it's about 13% of the space. So
Yeah.
what we did for that is we treated that like a retail component and gave it a higher demand parking for that 2,000 square feet. So there is some parking dedicated for customers as well. So we feel comfortable it'll work. There's we have there's some space in the back too. We couldn't make any legal parking there, but that doesn't mean you couldn't put an extra vehicle or two back there. It just doesn't meet the dimensional requirements. Sort of like at
Yeah.
your house. Not that I've been to your house, but that you could fit a car somewhere that you normally wouldn't. But the intent is to have all the legal parking in the front.
Yeah. And then when they load the vehicles to go deliver to the various places, where they do that at that small loading dock?
They either do it at the small loading dock, or they have the ability, I'm going to just do it right here. Say they're parking some of the delivery vehicles right here. this little hatched area is not a dock. It's at grade. So if you just have one or two parts, you could walk out, throw it in the vehicle, and then leave.
Okay,
We've also put a part of this design at the loading dock. We put a staircase over here on the southern end.
yeah,
We want the employees to be able to come out, access the trash as well as the vehicles and the trucks.
okay. And what's the distance from the front island there to the parking spaces?
From here to here,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's 30 feet. Hold on one sec. Can you see this different drawing?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yes.
it is 32 feet.
okay,
We wanted to give a little extra room there, and this sort of ties into Helen's comment as well, to accommodate the trucks to turn and give a little extra space. Obviously, there wasn't enough room for a third aisle of parking or anything of that nature, but
Mhm.
we gave 24 is the city's minimum to back up. So we gave 24 here, 24 here. 24 is kind of standard. We have it on the side for two-way travel. It was just in the front here where we know we were going to get that truck turning patterns. We wanted that to be a little wider.
Yeah.
Thus the little skew on this island here to sort of match that.
sure.
And again, the island itself it's 12 and a half from the property line, but there's another 4 to 6 feet of city right of way that we're going to be planting as well. You know, with grass
Sure.
and low-lying stuff. All the heavy shrubs will be on our property. So it's going to be a nice little front landscaping area there, especially compared to what they have now.
And then the width, did you say the width on that, on the left side there, the two-way going around the parking area is 24 feet?
Right here, yeah.
Right there? Right there?
24 minimum, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Which is pretty standard. The city requires that for the vehicles to back out.
Yeah. Okay.
Commission
Okay.
member, additional questions for Ben at this time?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Joel.
Mr. Kia's questions raised a couple of questions in my mind. The personnel complement and the new building, how's it compare with the personnel complement in the old building?
I think it's going to be similar.
How many parking places are in the old building's parking lot?
I'd have to get back to you on that, Joel,
Okay,
because there may be a shared component with other tenants and neighbors there that they're not going to have here.
I would appreciate it next time around then.
Yep. You understand what I'm saying, because where they are over at that complex, there's a lot of activity in multiple buildings and tenants over there, and that's not going to be the case
I
here.
understand, but they're pretty
Okay.
well, pretty well closed in. They can't really go through the Rizzo corporate lot, I don't believe.
No, but it's one of the reasons they're moving here too, to have a little more room. So I'll get that
understand.
answer for you though.
Here's where my mindset is. I've been in that parking lot many of times.
Mhm.
Never had a trouble finding a parking lot within, one car length away from the front door. I'm just not sure whether there should be any concern over at the new building. It looks to me like you've got oodles of parking, unless there's a lot more parking in the old lot than I can picture.
No, I think we feel comfortable that we have plenty of parking here. That was obviously the Listacos, any buyer of a property, that's the biggest concern. As a tenant, you move in a place and you make a mistake, you could always move out if you don't have enough parking. When you buy a place and invest this much money, you want to make sure that it's going to suit your needs now and, 20 years from now.
Understood.
So, and it's
Thank
something they
you,
thought.
Chairman.
Okay, with that said, commission members, are there any additional questions for Ben at this time? Hearing none from the commission, I will open the inquiry up to the public. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Anyone else in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application?
Mr. Chairman, it's Sharon. Just so you know, I unmuted everybody. So if anybody wants to chime in now, sure.
Thank you, Sharon. I
Okay,
should have checked with you before
that's okay.
doing. I'll just do it again. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Anyone else in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application? Anyone in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application? Having no further questions for Ben, hearing nobody wishing to speak in favor or against. Jennifer, could you give me a quick reminder? I believe we have to keep the public hearing open and there's a few open items.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. At this point, all comments have been received from from the various departments. We are waiting for Ben, since he's received Abdul's comments. He will make those revisions as he's shown the commission. He'll submit to city staff with official responses. We'll get comments back. And, hopefully at the next meeting, we'll be ready to close.
Great, Jennifer. Thank you for that summary. Commission members, if there is nothing else tonight for this particular application, I will entertain a motion to continue this public hearing until our next meeting.
So moved.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made. Do I hear?
Second.
Motion made and second. Thank you. Thank you very much to
Pick somebody.
continue this for our next meeting. Again, I will take a roll call vote. A yes is to continue to our next meeting. Mr. Urice,
Yes.
Ms. Hofstadter,
Yes.
Mr. Kiokio,
Yes,
Mr. Sylvain,
Yes.
and Chairman Finaldi votes yes. This matter will be continued until our next meeting. Thank you very much, Ben.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you,
Okay.
Taylor. You're a big help.
Thank you. All right. Looking at our agenda, we had nothing under our continuation of public hearings and also nothing under old business for discussion and possible action. Commission members, you may have noticed an 838 referral, a petition for BRT Sconset LLC. As noted in the agenda, that item will be discussed at the May 20th, 2020 Planning Commission meeting. So we need not take any action on that matter at this time. There are also 4 items for your review coming up, some new business things coming in, some 838 referrals and 824 referrals. We have nothing under correspondence, but we do have one item under other matters. A letter from Pondview Development LLC, request for a 1-year extension on subdivision approval and permit to construct roadways, subdivision 1401 Pondview Estates, 97 King Street. And again, just as a quick reminder, this is actually 2 matters. The 1-year extension on the subdivision approval and also the permit to construct roadways. Jennifer, did you want to comment on this?
At this point, we've received, the letter of credit has been extended out, I believe another 15 to 18 months. All that's left in that subdivision is the paving. Mr. Lucera missed the deadline in the fall, so I think he's waiting for the plants to open and he's gonna hopefully get on that this spring. But because of that, the actual subdivision approval and the permit to construct roadways actually expired earlier this month. So your approval will give him that additional year for both. Staff has no objection to it.
Any questions or comments from the commission members?
Just one
Hearing
question. They're in their first 5 years,
They are in their second.
so this would be an extension till the 11th year?
No, I'm sorry, to the, we approved them, He would ask that, I don't know. He is in his 9th year, so I believe he doesn't have any time left. This is it.
Okay, thank you.
Commission members, unless there's anything else, I'll entertain a motion, and I would only ask that when you make the motion, please include approval of two things: the 1-year extension on the subdivision approval and also the permit to construct roadways.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
I'd
Mr.
like to make
Urice.
a motion to approve the extension of the subdivision as well as the permit to construct the roadway for 1 year.
Motion made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, again, to request a 1-year extension of subdivision approval and permit to construct roadways. Any comments? Hearing none, I will take another roll call vote. Mr. Urice, again, hold it. A yes is a vote to approve the extension, and a no is a vote not to approve the extension. Mr. Urice,
Yes,
Ms. Hofstadter,
Yes,
Mr. Kiokio,
Yes.
Mr. Sylvain,
Yes.
and Chairman Finaldi votes yes. The 1-year extension for both is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
There is one item under for reference only. Again, the application for floodplain permit, the Chipotle thing we talked about a couple of weeks ago. And I think that is about it. Is there anything else from any commission members? Sharon, am I forgetting anything?
I don't think so. Very smooth.
I would just like to make a comment as your chairman. I tell you, we were all holding our breath going into this meeting, and I think it went remarkably well.
I
And,
do as well. Yes.
and I want to, again, as your chairman, concede that I had nothing to do with it. This was all Sharon and Jennifer and Joanne and Taylor. Thank you all very much. Well done. Good job.
Seconded.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone who put
So-
it together.
Unless there's anything else, we're going to have to take a roll call vote on this one. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to
moved.
adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. Roll call vote. Mr. Urice,
yes.
Mr. Hus, Miss
Yeah.
Hofstadter, Ms. Hofstadter.
I think you mean me, and the answer is yes.
Okay, sorry about that, Helen. Mr. Kiokio,
Yes.
Mr. Sylvain,
Yes.
and Chairman Finaldi votes yes. This meeting is adjourned. Again, thank everybody very much. Well done.
Good
Thank you.
night.
Yay.
Everyone.
Night.
Hey, thank you.
Meeting stops now.